My name's Ian Abel. I'm one of the founders of Based Upon. I co-founded it with my twin brother Richard in 2004, so we're coming up to the 7th anniversary of the first piece we ever made, and we're sitting right now in our London studio in Deptford. When we were first asked to create a piece for Mulberry, we began in the way that we like to, which is to begin with a journey or a location. So we went down to the Mulberry factory, spent a day with the people there, understanding how they make, looking at the specialist aspects of the craft, and we kind of became captivated with the mulberry tree that sits outside of the factory. It symbolises the brand, and it started to fit with the concept that Mulberry had said they'd like to pick up on when they commissioned us, because this was a piece intended for the Hong Kong store, and we wanted to say something about the Mulberry brand and how it crossed the pond from the UK to Hong Kong, rerouting itself in Hong Kong, being meaningful and significant in Hong Kong, but carrying still the essence of its roots in the UK, and particularly in Somerset. We collected over 1,000 leaves and cast a very large number of them, which have then been used within the piece. The composition of the piece was created by trying to work in as natural a way as possible. So we didn't want to have an artist or a designer's hand in there. So we set up essentially a wind tunnel that allowed us to take the leaves that we'd collected and blow them around a space at 1:1, allowing them to fall. And then when we were happy with a composition, we would kind of edit that. And that flows through quite a lot of our work, really, allowing nature to be the creator and nature to determine how a mark is made, but then allowing us as man to kind of say, okay, I'll act as the editor, or I'll decide how I crop what nature's given up. And then we're going to go a fairly laborious process of actually drawing around the leaves so that we have them actually have a drawn composition of what nature had created, exactly how the leaves had fallen. And then we go through a process of hand cutting each leaf. So each leaf is cut using chisels and hand routers until we've engraved that which nature had deposited through the process of using the wind. A number of the leaves that we were scattering had been sprayed gold, which would determine where within the composition we would create leaves in resins. So the next stage is then to create the resin leaves using a series of processes so that we achieve a whole lot of really beautiful natural colours, and they become a palette onto which we begin to layer subtly pigmented resins. The most important thing to us when we're creating an artwork is really that it becomes the client's piece. It belongs to the person who's commissioned it. It's not that it's our work that they've acquired from us and therefore become theirs. They actually feel that it's theirs because it speaks to them, it speaks of them. They've very often been a strong part of the development process. We really want it to be something that's treasured by them. And it's really interesting for us to be kind of archiving people's stories in a very physical way, in an increasingly digital world, when all of the content that you've captured and hoarded and treasured can be lost in the flick of a faltering hard drive. It's really beautiful to be creating things for people that will, in 100 years' time, still exist